up in Kolkata. As a child, I'd always heard about Dooars. The lush green forests, the tea gardens, the wide expanses of rivers, as well as the animals, rhinoceros, tigers, elephants. Finally, I got a chance to go there in November. We spent 8 days cycling there, about 572 kilometers. What better way to see a region than on cycle? This is a critical piece of land for India, which controls access to the whole of Northeast. And this is literally Dooars, which is door in Assamese and in Bengali and in some local languages. We visited Lataguri, Gorumara National Park, Rocky Island and Samsing Tea Gardens, which borders Bhutan. We passed through Chapramari and also Jaldapara, where there are rhinoceros. Finally, we reached Bhutan, but we couldn't enter Bhutan by cycle, and I'll relate that story a little bit later. Chilapata is a lush green forest we passed through, and we did spend some time in Buxa Tiger Reserve and Jayanti Riverbed. We had a forest immersion led by a local called James Bond, and that was very interesting. Finally, we ended up at Mirik, which is near Darjeeling. The hills were a pleasant change from the valleys, and the climate was very, very nice. This region is not often visited by tourists of rest of the country. We only saw local tourists there. In a way, it was good because the crowd was less. But I hope the West Bengal government will promote this place, because I feel everybody in India should have a chance to visit it once in their lifetime.
Day 2 of cycling in Dooars. Where are we, Shubhanan?
We are in Lataguri and we are heading to Samsing Garden.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
It's day 3 of cycling in Dooars. We are going to Chapramari and then Jaldapara. Hopefully we'll see some Gondar.
Gondar.
Yeah, which is rhinoceros in Bengali. That's the agenda for today.
Cycling in Dooars. We are heading to Jaldapara National Park and then to Bhutan border.
Maybe they'll let us in.
They will.
Awesome.
Look at the chehra. Day 5 of cycling in Dooars. After 2 failed attempts to cross Bhutan border with our cycle, we are headed back. We are going to Buxa Tiger Reserve.
And maybe Jayanti Riverbed.
Yes. Bye. Day 6 of cycling in Dooars. We have started from Buk village in Buxa to Lataguri. We'll go via Shilapata forest.
It's about 140 kilometers and great riding conditions.
Yes, no work. Bye. Day 7. Day 7 of cycling in Dooars. We are saying goodbye to all the forest and tea gardens and heading towards
Mirik, which is near Darjeeling. It's a little bit of a climb, about 1,500 meters elevation.
Awesome. of cycling in Dooars. Not Dooars, today we are in Mirik. We are heading to Mirik Lake and then we'll go back to Siliguri.
An awesome, nice morning and easy ride today.
We are climbing.
Here's a little bit of an overview on the route. So this is the Dooars region. And the center of the Dooars region is, of course, Siliguri, where the chicken neck of India is. So we started from Bagdogra airport, unremarkable ride on the first day, and we ended up in the forest of Lataguri. On the second day, we went to Samsung Gardens, visiting all the tea gardens in the middle. The next day was a challenging ride to Jaldapara. We visited Chapramari, passed through some wide rivers and the alluvial valley. Then we attempted to enter Bhutan, which we'll tell you in a little bit. Then we went to Buxa forest, where we spent some time sightseeing by auto. And then we were all the way back to Lataguri, and on the way we visited Shilapata forest. The ride to Tingling on the way to Mirik was challenging. We had to climb about 1400 meters. On the last day, we climbed up 400 meters to Mirik, and then we finally returned back to Siliguri. If you're a cyclist and interested in cycling in Dooars and want a few other details, then you can look at the links in the description. There are 4 other videos there. The first one is our tea garden exploration experience. The second one is exploring the forest. And the other 2 are 2 destinations, Buxa Tiger Reserve as well as Mirik Lake. These delve further into details of our experiences during cycling in the Dooars. These are the wild expanses of rivers in the Dooars Valley. I think it would be informative to cyclists to talk about our attempts to enter Bhutan. So there are 2 border towns. The first one is Phunchilong, which is on the Bhutan side, and the other one is Jaigaon, which is on the Indian side. And these are towns that are very close to each other, almost contiguous. Let's take a closer look at this region. So this is the border, and you can clearly see Phunchilong on one side and Jaigaon in West Bengal on the other side, separated by the border, which is depicted in red. This is a further close-up, and you can see that these 2 cities are well populated across the borders. And you have Bhutan Gate in the center where traffic goes through, and then that red building next to it is the pedestrian entry. Here's a further close-up at the pedestrian entry, which is depicted on the right, and then the gate of Bhutan, which is depicted on the left. So our first attempt was by cycle. We cycled up to the Bhutan gate and tried to cross, but BSF stopped us and said we have to go to the pedestrian entry. So that's where we went, and we gave our biometrics and processed our Aadhaar cards, and then from the other side we came back to where we had parked our bikes. So we picked up our bikes, and then we were confident we would be allowed into Bhutan. So we started cycling from the gate into Bhutan, and then we were stopped by the Bhutan border police, which said that we cannot enter. They took some photographs. They thought we were some crazies from India, and they called their seniors and finally refused us permission. So, reluctantly, we came back to India and we tried again, and I'll tell you that story. So that evening, we crossed over to Bhutan again, and there was a tourist office there. So we went inside the tourist office, and there's a lot of information available there regarding Bhutanese tours and hotels and famous destinations. We saw some tourists waiting there, but far at the background, there is Priyanka, being as persistent as she is. She wanted to convince the tourism folks there that we should be allowed in by cycle. But in spite of repeated pleas, they did not allow. So we did take a walk along Punchilong streets, seeing some of the local attractions. For example, their local monastery, which was very well maintained and a really, really calm and peaceful place to visit. While Priyanka was visiting the monastery, I decided to chill with a cold beer, sitting by the roadside until she shows up. There she is. Priyanka goes to a cafe, and I sit there, people watching. Traffic is really orderly, and Bhutan is very clean. It's a contrast when you cross the border from a disorderly West Bengal to a neat and clean and orderly Bhutan. Here's a look at the city park, which is adjacent to the monastery. There were a lot of local tourists and devotees who thronged the crowd. While we were dejected, we were looking forward to exploring the forests, and we started on the way to Jaldamara, Shilapata, Lataguri, and then on the way to Mirik. It was calm in the forest, only the sounds of breeze and the trees, and of course some occasional traffic once in a while. Our rest stops are special. The first kind of rest stop is a quick stop at a local tapri or a tea shop. Here we are opposite Jaldapara. We've stopped for some quick breakfast, maybe chai and biscuits, also inspecting our cycles a little bit. Sometimes we also get help on the local directions and places to see nearby. This is a unique kind of rest stop. Let's see what's happening here.
If I'm smiling, definitely I'm pretending. Video or picture?
This is a video.
Picture.
So this is Priyanka, who's a yoga teacher, taking her yoga classes on the fly on the road. The other kind of rest stop is for a good lunch and maybe a visit to the bathroom, as well as getting some hydration supplies or some takeaway tidbits for the rest of the journey. Here we are at Rup Sharup Family Restaurant. Left.
We did 100 and we saw elephant.
A little bit of banter at the rest stops. We've done 100 and we have 42 to go. Great memories on this ride. Please check out rest of the videos or we'll see you in our next journey, which is Spiti Valley. Bye for now.